civil war against Trump. Now look what's happening. On Tuesday, President Trump ordered the end of the DACA, an Obama-era program that protected 800,000 people who were in our country illegally from deportation. Now predictably, liberals are out in full force, blasting the president as a bigoted Mexican-hating racist, as the left never tires in their efforts to slander our president. Trump ran on the promise to put America first, unlike Obama, who constantly put the interests of illegals, criminals, and terrorists before the American people. Leave it to liberals to be outraged that a sitting president would actually want to uphold the law. Ever since President Trump made his announcement, the rhetoric by liberals has become startling. How far will Donald Trump go to appease the racist white nationalists who got him elected to the White House? One liberal website quipped, going on to say that a bigoted Trump is only doing this in order to erase the legacy of the country's first black president. As liberals collectively lose their minds that President Trump is merely enforcing the law and putting Americans first, now a top Democrat is calling for blood violence in the streets, telling illegals to take whatever means necessary to keep themselves from being deported. This president will do anything to target immigrants and families across our nation because he thinks it's good for him politically, no matter how wrong it is for our nation. But you know something? We're better as a nation than he is as President of the United States of America, Gutierrez went on. We fought hard, and we took on President Barack Obama. We marched, we went to court, we were arrested, and we won. And we will win once again. I want to tell all the dreamers and everyone in our immigrant community and our friends and our allies we are stronger than we have ever been before, and we are ready to resist any attempt to revoke the work permits, the social security cards, the legality that has been conferred upon 800,000 of our youth. Being that there's currently over 11 million illegals in America, this is a serious threat towards our country. Hilariously, many of the illegals protesting were screaming at Trump outside the White House in Spanish, ironically enforcing the narrative that they aren't even Americans since they can't even speak English. As liberals use this latest incident to drum up more anti-Trump violence in the streets, liberals are purposefully omitting the part where President Trump extended the DACA for 6 months, which will afford illegals the opportunity to remain in this country while they work through the process of becoming a citizen legally. In addition, President Trump is giving Congress the opportunity to come up with a replacement program, as this president understands the needs for checks and balances, unlike his predecessor who ruled like a tyrant via executive fiat. President Trump said he will revisit this issue in 6 months. The New York Times reported, Mr. Trump said in a statement that he was driven by a concern for the millions of Americans victimized by this unfair system. President Trump will make America great again, even if that means ushering in America's next golden age fueled by liberal tears. NFL star just put anti-American Kaepernick and kneelers to shame with huge move he just made for USA. Oppressed NFL football players like Colin Kaepernick benefit greatly from the oppressive country that gave them the opportunity to land multi-million-dollar contracts with the NFL, while realizing their childhood dreams of becoming football stars. As Kaepernick now actively organizes with the NAACP to paint the outlandish narrative that the NFL not signing him is because they're racists, an NFL player for the Houston Texans has made every racist NFL player look like even bigger jackasses than they previously were, with the amazing thing he just did for Hurricane Harvey victims. Justin James J. Watt is an American football defensive end for the Houston Texans, and has an extremely rigorous training schedule as the NFL season begins to kick off. Rather than whining about how the NFL is racist, or how America is oppressive, JJ has been spending every waking moment organizing hurricane relief efforts, where he's raised a whopping $20 million just in the last week and a half alone. The 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year is earning the MVP in Houston with his Houston Flood Relief Fund, Political Insider reported. Thanks, in part, to some big celebrity and corporate names, like Drake, Ellen, Walmart, and the Tennessee Titans organization, along with almost 200,000 other generous people across the world. What started out as a $200,000 fundraising goal turned into 10 times that in a weekend. By the time you read this, they've probably already surpassed the new goal of $20 million. JJ reported over Twitter that the physical donations pouring in so fast, that the money that was raised hasn't even been tapped into yet. Pictures of supplies overflowing from storage spaces and trucks could be seen, where these supplies were donated in a massive distribution event over the weekend to the suffering Houston community. What's even more amazing is that after raising all this money and coordinating the relief efforts, JJ has been hands-on and involved every step of the way, even physically going to the distribution centers and handing out supplies. In a recent interview with James Palmer, JJ was asked about how many hours a day he's spending on relief efforts, and his answer was remarkable. I asked how many hours he's spent on his fundraiser and planning this event since he arrived in Houston with the rest of his teammates on Wednesday. All of them, he said, smiling. Outside of a 2 to 3 hour workout each day, Watt has spent every second working with either Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, people from the Justin J. Watt Foundation, or volunteers to make this massive project a success in just a few short days. As for the tens of millions of dollars he's raised, JJ says, I'm going to take my time, make sure that I work with local organizations, that we do it right here in the city so that money goes straight to the people here of Houston who need it the most so that we can help rebuild them. Kudos to JJ Watt for not only taking time out of his busy training schedule to help the community, but showing us what a true American hero should look like, on and off the football field. Liberal Cher invites illegals into her mansion for protection from Trump, huge mistake. The limousine liberals are out in droves to support the illegal immigrants that they've barely had any interaction with up to this point. The iconic Cher has decided to put her money where her mouth is and invite some of those who are slated for deportation to hang out at her house. Via downtrend, when President Trump announced he was ending Obama's unconstitutional amnesty program DACA, liberals predictably freaked out. None however lost it as bad as past her prime pain in the ass Cher. The has-been singer claims she is going to house illegal aliens in her mansion to protect them from Trump or something. These so-called dreamers were never an enforcement priority in the first place, and Trump ending DACA doesn't change that. Cher's hysterical tweet makes it seem like they are suddenly going to be rounded up and deported, and that's simply not the case. They decided to voice their doubt, and Cher was none too thrilled to receive it. The natural cure for that would be to only allow in those illegals who passed some sort of test so that they would be agreeable for Cher to have around. The fact of the matter is that stars like Cher have security and publicists and lots of other people to keep them safe and make them look good. In the meantime, if she does move forward with her plan to house illegals, maybe I can forge a DACA card so that I get to see Cher's house. No great tragedy without some small gain, right? Cher, if you think Cher should let all the illegals stay with her. Cop killer walks into court, shocks everyone with what secretly happened to his face when cops delivered him. Carpio's family expected to see the solemn face of a man who feels he didn't deserve to be charged for killing a cop. Carpio's family, friends, and any of his other supporters shouldn't feel bad for the man with a rearranged face. The cop hadn't even confronted Carpio or presented any threat to the thug other than being a man with a badge. After Carpio shot Detective Allen with his own weapon, the suspect then tried to escape by jumping out a third-story window and hobbling a few blocks away. Officers could have murdered Esteban Carpio if they wanted to, but they have families to go home to and they know the justice system will do its job. Boston.com reports, a white plastic mask obscuring his severely bruised face, Esteban Carpio, The man accused of fatally shooting a Providence detective inside police headquarters early Sunday, was arraigned yesterday on murder charges and ordered held without bail. Carpio, 26, was charged in Providence District Court with killing Detective James L. Allen with the officer's gun around 12 a.m. Sunday as the veteran officer questioned him about the stabbing of an 84-year-old woman. Assistant Attorney General Paul Daley said in court that Carpio grabbed Allen's pistol in a third-story interview room, shot him twice, blew out a window with another gunshot, and jumped 60 feet to a grassy mound. Carpio's relatives gasped when court officers led in the shackled man, his eyes red, swollen slits. "Oh, my God, look what they did to him," one of Carpio's relatives wailed, adding a vulgarity about the police officers. Carpio's busted face in a mask has gone viral on social media and people are outraged that the mother had the nerve to shout police brutality after he murdered a detective and allegedly stabbed an 84-year-old woman. Carpio tried to plead insanity, but the respectable judge gave a firm no on that. Chicago's mayor just declared war on Trump after imposing sick ban effective immediately. On Tuesday, President Trump ordered the end of the DACA, an Obama-era program that protected 800,000 people who were in our country illegally from deportation. Now predictably, liberals are out in full force, blasting the president as a bigoted Mexican-hating racist. Now one of America's most infamous anti-Trump mayors has just declared war on the president, in an unbelievable move that's confirming that the Democratic Party is full of traitors needing a one-way ticket to Gitmo. President Trump ran on the promise to put Americans first, unlike his predecessor who constantly put the interests of illegals and criminals before the American people. Putting an end to DACA is a great move for our country, as it not only enforces the law, but prevents illegal immigrants from hurting Americans by taking their jobs and pushing down wages. Shortly after we learned of one top Democrat's terroristic plot to take the president out with 11 million illegals, after Democratic Representative Luis Gutierrez made a YouTube video calling for illegals to start a civil war, now Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, has just ordered a disgusting decree against Trump. Not only is Rahm Emanuel vowing to violate federal law and harbor illegal criminals in his city indefinitely, but on Tuesday, the rabid liberal declared the city of Chicago to be a Trump-free zone. Independent UK reported, Chicago's mayor has declared the city a Trump-free zone, after the U.S. president ended protection for the children of undocumented immigrants known as Dreamers. Introduced by former President Barack Obama, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals immigration policy prevented nearly 800,000 people who came to the U.S. as children from being deported. Mayor Rahm Emanuel tweeted, "To all the dreamers that are here in this room and the city of Chicago, you are welcome in the city of Chicago. This is your home and you have nothing to worry about." The DACA program, announced by Mr. Obama in 2012, offers renewable protection from deportation for 2 years to people who entered the United States before the age of 16. Mr. Trump's Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced the decision to scrap the DACA program, calling it an open-ended circumvention of immigration laws and an unconstitutional use of executive authority. Opposing Trump is nothing new for Rahm Emanuel. "We welcome you to Chicago," the Chicago mayor disgustingly proclaimed after the young teen girl's gang rape, glamorizing anyone's intent to break America's laws. Liberals always like to argue that America is a country of immigrants and that our doors should therefore be automatically open to whoever wants in. President Trump will make America great again, even if that means ushering in America's next golden age fueled by liberal tears.